Hi Avish, how's it, my friend?
Hi, Sid. Good in you.
Great, man. Good to see cricket finally and the West Indies winning. It's kind of funny that they've won because I had this thing in the back of my mind that they could win this match, but then yet when we spoke the last time, we were all making England be the favorites. But what I've learned is that always go with your gut instinct. Don't just go by stats because stats can only be good to a point. So, what do you have to say about that?
Well, if you look at West Indies, England is becoming one of West Indies' favorite teams at the moment to play against. First of all, congratulations to the West Indies. Winning in England is no mean feat, and to do it in the space of 4 days. Remember, first day was actually like almost washed out, so
Yeah.
they had like 4 days. You know,
Yes.
plus just roughly 4 days to win this test match, and they actually went on and won it. Uh, I would say quite comfortably in the end. There were hiccups here and there, but
Mhm.
yeah, fantastic performance from the Windies, man, to win this test, and it sets it up for the series now in the second test in Manchester. Yeah, sets it all up.
And I know this is sounding a bit, cowardly, but imagine if West Indies can, I don't know if they're having this thought in their mind, but maybe they can try and draw the second match and then they'll have a nice 1-0 series win. Do you think that could happen?
Well, look, it's a three-match series, so there's still a lot of
Oh,
cricket
sorry. Oh,
left to
sorry.
play.
I thought it was a two-match series.
Yeah.
Sorry, my mistake.
So there's still a lot to play. You can't
Yeah, yeah,
really
yeah.
let your
Yeah,
guard down now at the moment. And I
no,
mean,
that's so,
talking
so
from
true.
experience, England is quite a strong side when they obviously have a setback. So I expect England to come
Mm,
back quite strongly in the second test.
mm,
But I mean, West Indies would want to keep the momentum. I
yeah.
think from an England point of view, I think it all went pear-shaped right at the top when it came to the toss. I think
Yeah.
Stokes' decision to bat first obviously wasn't the correct one. If we look at the test match now in hindsight,
Mm,
he
mm,
probably should have bowled first, because
yeah.
there was a
Hindsight,
lot of assistance on
hindsight.
the bowler, all the bowlers, and I think the Windies got the most out of that wicket, in the first day, and England below par, 204 in the first innings,
Mm,
just wasn't enough.
yeah.
They obviously batted a little better in the second innings, but
Yeah. The damage had been
they
done.
obviously had a 114 run deficit. So the
Oh.
standout performances for the West Indies here was a guy like Brathwaite. He showed a lot of composure in the first innings, and it definitely wasn't easy facing the likes of Archer and Anderson, Stokes. Very difficult. But he kept his composure, and he saw it through, and he was ably assisted by Dowrich as well. So yeah, they managed to get a very competitive score of
Mm,
318 in the first innings, and I think momentum was with them, and it seems like England were just chasing the game, thereafter, trying to stay in the game, and in the end, it seems like that first innings of 204 really played its part here. They were probably in the region of 150 runs short, of a good first inning total. That would
yeah.
obviously put the West Indies under much more pressure had they scored
Yeah.
350. But
Yeah. They would indeed.
204 yeah, 250, 204 was actually way below par. Look, I think a guy like Root would probably come into the mix in this test. It's going to be a tough one of who to drop here. A guy like Pope, he didn't have a really good game.
Yeah.
Both scores were under 20. So he's probably some question marks over his form at the moment. And then Crawley, he didn't bat very well in the first innings, but I mean he played a good knock in the second innings, of 72. So it's going to be difficult to drop a player like that. So there's there's lots of headaches for the England selectors in the days to come. But I think the Windies, they would probably go with an unchanged side for the second test.
Okay, that's interesting because now that I think about it, even though England didn't bat well in the first innings, we've actually got to give credit to Holder. He was like, wow, he was just pitching the ball on the light line and length, hitting 6 wickets, and that pitch was bowler friendly, especially on the second day. And then obviously West Indies applied themselves better with the bat, and then I thought the match was kind of heading to a draw, especially on the fourth day, because the way England were batting, it looked possible with the sun beaming, shining. So I don't know if you felt the same way at one stage. And then all of a sudden, West Indies just
Um,
blew them away.
no, no, definitely, definitely. I would say that England probably collapsed from quite a strong position.
Hmm.
Where it was 249 for three, and then
Yeah.
they lost Stokes, which was a big
Hmm.
was a big wicket for England. For England to lose, and obviously a big wicket for the Windies. And yeah, I think that obviously opened an end now, and you didn't see the tail wag that much. Had the tail probably contributed, say, an extra 70 or 80, Windies would have had like about 280 to chase on the final day, which would have made it a little bit more tricky. But I feel with 200, you more often than not, 99.9% of the time, you'd back yourself as a batting unit to just to chase that down, even in a fourth innings.
But
You
200 is
it's a score
generally
that
a bogey kind of score because I
fine.
know, but 200 is generally a bogey score. Like I remember, and I don't want to be off topic, but I remember when India had chased it in South Africa in Cape Town and SA defended it really well. But then saying that that pitch was just spicy. But anyway,
Yeah,
the back to this
look,
game. I was
at the end of
actually
the day,
yeah
uh, when you're chasing when you're defending a score like 200, uh, your bowlers got to be on the money from ball one. And I know you compare to that famous test in Cape Town where Verlander had a game of his life, and the ball was seaming around all over, and he
yeah
bamboozled a lot of the Indian batsmen. I felt here uh, the England obviously did have an opening when they had them at around uh, 27 for three. They had the
yeah
Windies
Archer bowled
27 for
really
three
well.
second inning, but that that partnership between Blackwood and Chase obviously calmed the nerves in the dressing
Yeah
room. And I think Blackwood probably played the innings of the Test match, and unlucky to not to miss out
yeah
on that milestone, 5 runs
100.
short of the milestone. But I
Mm.
think I think his innings was the innings of the match. He a match-winning innings. Deserved to be on the winning side for playing a knock like that. He showed a lot of composure there.
Yeah
The Windies could have easily folded. But they just
yeah
needed somebody to bat
yeah
the entire day, and they'd win this match. And I think Blackwood did that job for them. So yeah, he's a big player for the rest of the series. Brathwaite up the order is also a big player. Also, Gabriel had a superb game,
mm.
man of the match. It could have been given to Holder because
Yeah
Holder was, as you say, he was like almost unplayable in that first innings. I think that was probably the best spell I've seen from Holder. You know, a bowling spell. I mean, we all know his capabilities with the bat, but I mean, he showed his other side to the game with the ball, and he pitched the ball up, and he made the England batsman play.
yeah
A lot of
and
false strokes.
But
So
Holder's been
he
pretty
was
much
on the money,
underrated,
especially a guy like Gabriel as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But Gabriel has been really improving leaps and bounds. I mean, I remember like how he bowled in the Caribbean, and I think he's probably taken that confidence from there and he's brought it to England, and it helps that in England they've made their pitches really sporty. But then it's been nice to see how the bowlers have actually adapted because they can't use saliva. I mean, they can use sweat, but how much can sweat really help? So, but then that's also another topic of what But then my only
Well,
thing is that now, sorry.
uh, I mean, if you go back 5 seasons ago, you'd never give the Windies a chance to win a Test match in England, you know. But
Hmm.
over the past 2 years now, they've built a really solid and competitive unit, you know. And they're not a side to be taken lightly anymore, you know. They're definitely not a side to be taken lightly anymore. They've got decent batsmen, and they've got a good pace attack, you know, which obviously is their strength at the moment, is their pace attack, meaning when the conditions are favorable, they can obviously get you in all sorts of trouble, you know. They can
Yeah.
they can take 2 or 3 quick wickets, you know. So they are a side to really watch your guard against, and they cannot be taken lightly anymore. They really have become quite a competitive team in the Test arena now.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, and I don't want to count my chickens or get overly excited, but if West Indies can clinch the series against England, even if it's 2-1 or 2-0, then it kind of makes me quite intrigued that when they play against South Africa, how that series could pan out, because their confidence will be quite big. And our test team, as you know, is not at the level it should be at. So it could be an opportunity for the West Indies, but that can be also for another discussion. There's so many hidden discussions here. I mean, topics that I just mentioned that could become its own. Yeah, but it's amazing to see West Indies win.
Definitely amazing performance. But if you look at England, I think a guy like Root, it just
Mm,
goes to show how important he is
mm,
to the batting lineup, you know, because
yeah,
once he's not there, there's like a big hole in that
yeah,
batting unit. And I think a guy like he obviously didn't perform that well in this Test match as well. So I
yeah,
mean, you can't write them off. They're still good players, you know. So
yeah,
they
definitely
can
not.
always
Early
come
days.
good in the second and third. Yeah.
Yeah, and
So I
it's
mean, it's not all.
doom
It's
and
it's
gloom.
it's not over by any means, you know.
Yeah,
It's not over by any means.
yeah,
As I say, I expect England to come back very
yeah,
strongly in the
yeah.
second
So
test, but I'm also expecting West Indies to keep that momentum going. You know, I
hopefully,
think the worst thing the Windies could do now is obviously, fall back into that complacency. You know,
mm,
and try and be too casual at the moment. You know,
mm,
they need to obviously be on top of their game like they
mm,
were in the first test, because I saw them very hungry. You know, they
yes,
look very hungry for this win. You know, we
yeah,
saw the hunger, and that needs to be maintained if they are to obviously win this test series, which should obviously be historic. You know,
yeah,
uh, dating back to the 80s when the great West Indian sides toured England. So
yeah. That's quite
this side
a
would be
big
right up there
thing.
if they could win a test series in England. You know,
And if they can
as I
even make
say,
the
no
top
mean feat. It's
five, would be an
quite
achievement
an
for them
achievement.
right now. I mean, for them to make the top five now would be an achievement, and then we take it from there. Because I think with their side, top five, they have the potential to make it to top five, but that's how it is. And then, oh yeah, there's a question that I was going to ask you. I reading an article by there was a thing about Stuart Broad. He wasn't too happy that he wasn't picked. He didn't understand it. What was your thoughts on it?
Look, I think it's obviously down to the selectors, and they obviously see what uh, what the wicket's playing like. But I think leaving a guy like Broad out
Hmm.
is very surprising. You know, with
Yeah,
that sort of
because
experience. You know, so
yes, he would have
yeah,
been good on that pitch.
it's
He would have been good
quite
on that.
surprising that
And
you can
also,
leave
he
a
can
guy like
bat a
Broad out.
little,
You know,
and he can bat
very
a
well.
bit. Not like he's only a bowler.
No, definitely. Yeah, no, definitely. And make no mistakes, the England top order obviously failed in the first innings, and obviously that was their downfall. You know, because I mean, if you win the toss and you score 200 in the first innings, I don't think that's enough for you to dominate a test match. You know, you've got to have at least 350 on the board. 300,
Yeah,
350 would obviously give the opposition, a little thinking. So I think dismissing England for 200 plus, I mean, it just gave the Windies a lot of confidence.
yes,
I wonder how the wicket is going to play in Manchester. It's
yeah,
generally a good batting wicket, so
yeah,
uh, it should favor the batsman. I think with Southampton, it was heavily in favor of the bowlers. there was always something in the wicket for the bowlers, if they put that effort in. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how that wicket in Manchester plays.
But then, kind of wrapping this up. But how did you find this pitch for the first Test match? Did you find it a good pitch? You think it was fair?
I honestly think it was a fair wicket because you if you were to score runs on this wicket, you had to obviously show a lot of application, which is what a guy like Blackwood did. He showed a lot of application. Crawley showed a lot of application. Brathwaite showed a lot of application. So scoring runs should not be easy. You need to work for your runs, especially in Test matches, and it gave assistance to the bowlers as well. I mean, you had to bowl good balls as well.
Yeah.
You couldn't be wayward. You had to put the ball in the right areas to get the reward. So it was a very good Test wicket. 40 wicket. It to me it was all you could want from a test match pitch.
Yeah, because I think from what I saw in the match, there was seam on the first 2 days, especially on the second day. And then during the third or fourth day, there was some turn. So it's kind of close to, well, I don't want to overly rate this pitch, but you would say it was a good pitch, as you said. It was fair, there was seam, there was spin, batsman could bat. That's not what you want. Either you get pitches nowadays that are just too flat, boring, and then you get a pitch that's too bowler friendly. So but then to be honest, it's so you don't really get to see bowler friendly pitches, so you kind of get excited. So I'm kind of being a bit biased here towards the bowlers. So but the problem is with so much money, just in general, pitches.
I think the one thing that the Windies obviously have in their favor here is I think they've got a better pace attack at the moment. Their bowlers obviously bowl a lot faster than the England bowlers, so that's the one weapon that they can use going forward. They obviously got to, as I said, they obviously got to guard against complacency in that second Test, because England are obviously going to come back very strong. I expect them to come back strong. 1-2 changes around there, So let's see. Maybe Moeen Ali could come back in the mix. You never know.
It's funny you say that about the West Indies attack because I think one English commentator said in this first Test, he said it was the first time an English team fielded an attack that was faster than the West Indies bowling attack. And I think he said that because there was Wood and Archer, and those two are very fast bowlers. And then West Indies only had one fast bowler. I think that was probably Gabe or something. Or was it? Yeah, I think the West Indies pace attack probably wasn't as quick as England's, but they were just more effective and they had it going. But then now, getting back to
yeah,
this.
definitely much more effective. As I say, they obviously conditions were very favorable for them on the opening day, and then obviously into day two. So I don't think they would have been very upset to be bowling first, because I think personally that's what they would have done themselves, bowl first. So they back their pace attack. So England a bit wayward, especially in the first innings. So they got it right to an extent in the second innings, but they just didn't have enough runs to play with. So yeah, it's all set up for a cracking game at Manchester on Thursday. So it's something to look forward to. There's a chance for England, obviously West Indies, to make history, by becoming the first team in 32, the first West Indian team in 32 years to win a Test series in England, and then obviously a big match for the hosts. Getting back.
A long time, man. 32 years. I didn't realize.
Yeah, it's quite a long time, and that's obviously been the decline of West Indian cricket, over the past 2-3 decades. But it seems like they're getting back to the sides of those days, but still a long way to go. Still got to win. Still got to win Test series all over the world to be considered the best. It takes a lot of work to get to number one, and you can ask a guy like.
I think if they can get to top 5, first of all, that's a good step. That's a good starting point, and then
yes, definitely.
And then
of course, yeah.
But then now, okay, but then on
there's just a lot of potential, though.
Yeah, but then on a final note, I'm just trying to think now that the bowlers can only use Sweat and whatever else, and the pitches going forward. So you're still predicting this pitch here at Manchester to just be batsman friendly. So you don't think the English are gonna ask for some grass for the next two test matches, make the pitches 40, because England are, when they're in the corner, they want their pitches to be more spicy, and then obviously with no saliva being allowed, it's going to be interesting. But I don't mind pitches being sporty; they should be like that. Bad
Look,
is
as
yeah,
as you know, I mean, the home team and administrators have a big say in how the wicket is obviously prepared these days. So I would think they want a bit of grass on the wicket to for the guys like Wood and Archer to obviously have a crack at it. But I think it all depends on the toss now. And in England, the way I see it, the best option when it comes to winning the toss, you have a ball first. It generally gets much easier on day 2 and day 3 when it comes to batting. First day very challenging. So I think England, they got the game plan wrong in having a bat first. So
mm,
they would obviously guard against it. I'd expect them to bat a little bit more cautious. They build an innings this time around. Then obviously getting carried away, and you don't expect them playing too extravagant shots. But I expect a comeback from England, yeah, in the second test, and let's see what West Indies is made of, whether they can
yeah.
take this
So
all the way.
we can assume West Indies will keep their side for the next test match, and then we can,
Definitely, I
and
expect
then
an unchanged for the West Indies, and
England,
uh,
you would expect him to.
definitely root.
Broad will probably come back for which player, who will be dropped. That's the big question.
Look, you definitely need root back uh,
Yeah,
in
and
batting
Broad.
lineup, because I think he's that colours sort of player, that just calms the dressing room and just calms the batting unit. So it's going to be a tough one. Who you're going to drop? I think the two openers, Burns and Sibley, they're probably going to keep them for a while. Crawley, as I say, he played a good knock in the second inning, so it's going to be unfair to drop him. So from my opinion, I think the question marks is on Ollie Pope at the moment. Whether he's going to keep his place in the side for this test match. It's a difficult one, because he can obviously turn it around in second test. In terms of the bowlers, I'd say, yeah, it's a tough one. It's between Wood and Archer for this one. I would think they'd want to keep Archer because of his height.
Mm.
Broad and Anderson, I mean, what a pair. They bowled so well together
Yeah, and
for
you
so many
separated
years. I
them.
mean,
So you have,
why would you want to separate that pair, especially in English conditions? It just doesn't
yeah.
make any sense to me. Why you'd want to drop a guy like Broad? So yeah, I expect him to come back in this side forward. So those would be my changes.
So okay, and if you had to make a prediction for the second test, I know we got the prediction wrong for the first test, so yeah, that's a bit embarrassing. And I kind of made an assumption that West Indies would want to draw the second test match because I had assumed it was a two-test series. But now there's three. It's going to be I know I'm going to make the same. I might regret making this prediction again, but I think England will win again. No, will win this time because they have to equal the series. But if West Indies win the second test, then obviously I feel England would win the third because it's play for pride. But either way, it'll still be good for West Indies, even if they win 2-1, 2-0. Never know though.
Okay, at the moment it's difficult for me to make a prediction, but all I can say is England are gonna come back very strongly in the test, and I just hope West Indies can hold enough. But
Yeah,
yeah,
me too.
you're gonna see a backlash from England in this second test. You're gonna see them coming back quite strongly in the second test. So I just hope West Indies can keep the consistency going, because I think that's been the weakness over the years is that consistency. Being able to be consistent for a long period of time. So yeah, let's hope for a cracker in Manchester.
Right. Thanks so much for your time, my friend.
Okay, cheers.